We should have like a jingle when we start the show.
You know, I haven't made a intro to this. I have intros for my other stuff, and I haven't made an intro to. You know, thank you for bringing that up,
Yeah.
Larry. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow night.
You do need an intro.
My girlfriend's
like an intro
busy.
video.
I'm going to make an intro for this thing. That's what I'm going to do because we do this every Monday anyway. So, welcome everybody. Thank you everybody in the chat for coming along. We appreciate you as usual. You are my as usuals, my repeat offenders. Mac and Ollie and Kyle and Purple and Phoebe and whoever else is in there. So thanks for coming by, guys. Really appreciate it. So we have a new guest tonight. Somebody's got an echo. Who's echoing? So we have a new guest tonight. This is Finn. Finn, let me point in the right direction. God, that still messes me up. How long have I been on YouTube? This is Finn. Finn I bumped into on TikTok, and he was putting out some good content and talking about trans stuff and himself, and was doing the same thing I was. And I thought, I like this dude. And so Finn and I had some good times, and we did some trans guy whining on TikTok. If anybody doesn't know my TikTok, it's exactly the same as my other name. There's just no spaces or dashes or capitals. It's just be straight through, all in small. And you can find Finn there as well under, Puck Finn, right?
The Puck Finn.
The Puck Finn.
And
that's it.
And today they made a 0.
Huh?
So it's the Puck Finn 0 now.
Oh no! Did you get booted?
Yeah, it said that because of changes that they made, my name would no longer be valid. So
What?
Why?
Well, that's kind of rude.
Because I guess it didn't meet the criteria.
That's
I
so
guess it
weird.
was
I
all
don't have any
characters or
numbers in
something. I have no
name.
idea. I have no idea.
Maybe I haven't got that notification yet. I haven't been on it a couple days, so.
Yeah, it came up when I went to post a comment on somebody else's TikTok. So
that's actually a
have
good
no
idea, Finn. I should hook you up with Phoebe. Phoebe does transition stories, and so what she does is hi Jay, hi Bolt, hi Inquisitor and Crypto. So what she does is she just interviews you and talks about, how you grew up or whatever. And she's really good at it. She's like a newscaster. Don't tell her I said that because her ego's already big enough. But, but she has a lot of fun with it. And she's really good at interviewing people. And she asks you questions, and then you can talk as much as you want. If you don't have anything to say, she'll pipe in. So the first thing I want to do tonight is I just want Finn to tell you guys a little bit about himself and summary of his journey, so you guys kind of get a feel for where he is and who he is, and then we can go on from there. So what say you, Finn?
Well, I guess we can start off with the basic vitals. I'm 52. I'm one of the guys that started transitioning very late in life. Actually, next week will be 18 months since I started T. September I had my top surgery. December I had the full histo. So for now I'm done with surgeries because it's been a lot to recover from.
Right.
And I also get the added bonus of I also have DID, and that's fun to live with. DID is dissociative identity disorder. It's what previously was referred to as multiple personality disorder. So,
well, that's a pain in the ass.
No. You know what? It used to be. It used to be when I didn't know what I had. It was horrible.
Oh yeah.
But now that I know what I have, and I've been in some really, really intense treatment, I highly recommend seeking out a good EMDR therapist if you have any trauma to deal with. That stuff is amazing. I can't explain how or why it works, but it works. So I've been working on, as far as that goes, what's referred to as integration, and I hate that term when it comes to treating DID, but that's the ultimate goal. But integration is not like it is in the movies where everybody blends together and goes away. It's just that everybody's still there, but it's a team effort.
Right.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Not always. Not always.
So. Nothing in life is a constant. So
yeah. Yeah,
That
and
just
this
doesn't
is the
exist.
joy. This is the joy of dealing with constant change on a
Right.
cellular level.
Right.
So,
Yeah, right. No doubt.
but I've been in a relationship with my wife for 20 years.
Wow.
Last year we celebrated 20 years together. We got legally married in New York City in 2015.
Awesome.
And I have two
Cool.
grown kids.
How old are they?
They are 29 for a little while longer until February, and then 31. So
Nice. My son's about to turn 31, and he's also trans. He
Yeah,
actually
no-
started. He actually started like a year before me, and I just said, "Why am I not doing this? My son already came." And it's funny because the first time I ever admitted that I knew like who I was and that I knew I should be a guy, he came to me as a female and was crying, and I need to talk to you. And I was like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And she at the time said, well, I don't want you to be disappointed in me. And I said, "Are you a murderer?" "No." And I said, I don't know, are you a thief?" "No." "Are you a rapist?" "No." "Then how am I going to be disappointed in you? You're a good person with a good heart. So what's going on?" And so she told me, she said, I'm not comfortable in my own skin, and I want to be a guy. And I said, "Honey, I want a penis too. Go do it." And that was the first time I had ever admitted it. First time I had ever said to anybody, "Yeah, I wish I had one too." I said, "Well, don't we all?" And she went like that. And I said, "Go do it." And she was like, "You're
That's
not
awesome.
mad?" I said, "No, I fucking love you. I don't care." And then so here's my kid doing it, and all these people I know on YouTube, and then I met Ben, and then Perp, and all these people were like, "Oh, I'm gonna transition." And I was, because at first I was like, "God, I'm old. Like, I'm fucking.
Yeah.
I just turned 50. Like, I'm not gonna. What the hell's the point, right?" So, and then the fear and rejection and all that, of course, kicked in. And then I just said, "You know what? What the fuck am I doing? Why am I not being me?" So, when did you first realize that you weren't who you were born as? Or however you want to put it.
First time I really remember anything significant. I want to say I was like, I don't know, 6 maybe. And
See?
but it's the stupidest story. I always had to dress like a girl, and my mom was very gifted in when it came to being able to sew things. So probably half of my clothes until I was out of elementary school, my mom made. But the nice thing was she was so good at it, they didn't look homemade. So at least I had that.
Right.
But for some reason, I got dressed in hand-me-downs from my brother that day. My only thought is if we needed to do laundry. I don't know. But so anyway, my mom dressed me in hand-me-down khakis from my brother and a plain white t-shirt and then a blouse. And so at recess, I ditched the blouse.
Hell yeah.
And went out and was having the time of my life. But the only problem was there was a kid in my class that was also in my brownie troop, and my mom was my troop leader. And so she ratted me out, and I got in so much trouble. And that pretty much was like, yeah, we're not. That's bad. Don't try to do that again. And then I can't imagine what would have possessed me to want to join the military at 17. Geez,
Well,
who would have thought?
And what branch did you go into?
I went into the Navy. And here's the funny thing. Like, I remember thinking, oh, I'm just really self-conscious and I'm really modest because of how I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
But the most difficult thing for me in boot camp was showers, because we had pole showers, and I literally would be locked onto the pole. I was like, not looking at nothing else. This is wrong.
That was me when I was in basic and stuff. I can't look at these women. I want to have sex with them. I cannot look at them.
Yep. When I took swimming for my my gym credit for my last year of high school, and it was the same thing where they had open showers in high school. And every day I would literally make myself late to my next class because I would just be hiding and waiting for everybody else to leave
So you
before I could shower because I couldn't deal with any of that. And especially having other people
I
see
just
me.
wouldn't. You know what I did? I didn't shower. I
Oh,
just
didn't
I just
shower,
changed
yeah.
clothes, and people would go, you didn't shower, and I'd go, fuck off. I
Mhm.
wipe my ass. How do you know? You know, like, but I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't. I'm
Yeah.
like, nope. Even after basketball practice, whatever, I'd go home. Other girls would take a shower and change. I'd go home in my
Yep.
basketball clothes. I wouldn't do it.
Yep. When I went to public gyms like Planet Fitness, and I would do that. I would pack up all my shit and I would go home and shower.
Yep. Yeah. I used to go in the morning, and Ben and I had actually discussed this before. I used to go in the morning before work. And so I was so afraid, and this is after I started transitioning. And so just a few months ago. So I would go in and I'd work out. Well, then I was drenched in sweat, and I sweat bad. Like my whole family, we are sweaters. And I'm like, I have to fucking shower or something. And so I was afraid to go into the guys' room because once I take my top off, and if anybody saw me, and think about it. You're in a gym where there's large, muscly guys. I'm going to get killed. So I would go into the women's room and I would just go right in, because when you walk in the door, Planet Fitness, same thing. Walk in the door, the showers are right there. Go into the shower stall, close the curtain. And I put 2 stools in there to lock the curtain in so nobody could fucking see me and I couldn't see anybody. And I'd shower and I'd change right there and right back out the door to work. And I just head down, just go, and I would go home, go to work and brush my teeth and everything, and then I was good. But yeah, no, it's not a comfortable situation for sure. And I was to the point where, well, then I got a girlfriend now. I don't have time to go to the gym. But anyways, I was to the point where I was just going to go into work and just clean up in the bathroom and say, fuck it. Just take washcloths with me and just take a whore bath because I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to go in there. It's just the most horrifying thing. There's no bathroom for me. I'm not supposed to be in here and I'm not supposed to be in there. Fuck do you do?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I get it though. Yeah, absolutely. How long were you in the Navy?
I did 3 years active duty. That's an ugly story that involves an ex that, but I really missed it. So then I went into the reserves. And ended up in the Air National Guard, and I did 6 years with a civil engineering unit. And then they found out that I liked girls on the slide and said, "Thank you for your service. Have a nice day."
Have a nice day. Well, that's what they did back then.
Well,
yeah.
So I mean, the upside is they gave me a medical discharge instead of a dishonorable or other than honorable. So.
Yeah, it wasn't under suicide. It was under I can't serve.
Right.
Something wrong with me. Because
I was on medication, and at that time, this was back in the late 90s, you had worldwide mobility spots and non-worldwide mobility spots. So if you were on a maintenance medication, they would put you in a non-mobility worldwide mobility spot. Well, then they did away with those. So if you were on a maintenance medication, they could use that as an excuse to kick you out.
Right.
Medically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hi, Ox. Ox said, don't knock the Navy, Phoebe. They are the backbone of the armed services. I don't know about the backbone. They're more like the wet bone of the armed services. Actually, Finn, my family were all Navy. My family,
I'm assuming that's how you ended up being born at Portsmouth Naval.
Yes, that's exactly how. Both sides of my family, going back to as far as there was military, all served in some kind of a Navy. And ever since the United States had a Navy, they served in every single war, blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
So then came my generation, and my oldest sister went to college, and she's like, this isn't for me. I can't do this. I don't want to do it. And she joined the Navy. And so the next one came along and said, oh, fuck no, I'm not going to the armed services. And then my brother Walt said, fuck the Navy, because that reminds me too much of this asshole that I call sperm donor. And so he Army and Navy and then me, and I went in the Army. So we, like, everybody in they're out of the 7 kids total, 2 of us did not serve, but the rest did.
Yeah, we're just picking on Puck because we got 3 Army people here and 1 Navy. Because Phoebe is Army, even though she's British Army, so not as cool as our Army. But then we got B and I are both U.S. Army. So
see,
you know, Ox, that's a damn good point.
But 2 of my brothers were in the Army, but I am a godless communist, and so I did not enlist. So,
oh no,
representing all
I'm not a communist. I'm just godless.
Yeah, I'm not really
half.
Yeah,
I'm not really a communist. It's what my granddad would say.
Yeah, no, I'm just being a smart ass. Yeah. Well, yeah, if you don't believe in God and you don't go into the military, then you're a godless communist, right? You have to be both.
Yeah, exactly.
It's old school shit. Yeah, for sure. So, so Finn, going back to that, at what point did you just say? I mean, so obviously you lived as a lesbian for a while? Is that what you did?
I did, but I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. If you can believe that you can join the Navy straight out of high school and still not fucking figure out that you're gay. I was 27. I had gotten married and had 2 kids. I was like trying to live up to all of the expectations that had been laid in front of me.
Yeah.
And I hated it. And then I lost my dad when I was 25. And just insanity ensued for like the next 5 years of my life. But out of that insanity, I did figure out that my ex was bad and that should end. And that I would probably spend the rest of my life far more attracted to women than anything else. Mm-hmm. And then 25 years later, figure out that I'm trans and then open up to the world around me even more. And it's like, oh my God, I can't take all this. It's a lot. It really is. And when I talked to my therapist about it, I was like, why couldn't I have figured this out when I was 27?
Right.
And
like I knew. No, honestly, I knew, but I didn't even know what it was called. I mean, I found out what a lesbian was in the bathroom in high school because I was I was listening to 2 women talk, and I was like, oh, I'm female. I like women. I'm a lesbian. Okay, so that's what I went with.
I couldn't figure out why I enjoyed giving really tight hugs to my close friends.
Really tight hugs.
But but that so much of that was this ingrained crazy religiosity that I was raised with, because now, Beck, you're probably old enough to know who I'm talking about. Ben, I don't know if the other 2 guys will know, but my parents worked for Jim and Tammy Faye Baker.
Oh man,
for 6 years. Yes,
my sister went and worked for Pat Robertson. You know what she said? My sister's really religious and a total sweetheart. She is actually the definition of a Christian, what it should be. Like, I believe in God. I go to church. I help my community. I volunteer. I love everybody. That's my sister, right? So she's like, oh, I get to work for this Christian organization. And she's all excited. And she was like there for like a month and a half and she quit. And she goes, I quit. And I was like, what happened? She goes, those people are horrible. And I was like, what? She said, they're all mean. They talk to everybody like they're trash. They don't give a crap about anything but money. And I was like, is it that bad? Like, I knew, but I wanted her to say it, right? I was like, is it that bad? And she was like, oh my God. And she ranted, and my sister cussed. My sister cussed for the first time since she was like 18. And I was like, oh, she's mad. And she was like, that's it. And she was done with that shit. Yeah, I mean, you see a whole different point of view.
That's what it's all about. Like and the Bakers, they do the whole prosperity gospel thing too. They're all about money. They're all about selling the apocalypse to people. Like literally with the whole like apocalypse bucket thing that they sell.
For real. My mom right now lives in this little town, Lake City, Florida. And she wants so badly to sell her place and move to Branson, Missouri, so she can be near his ministry. I'm like, no. I can't with you, Mike.
I just want to say that, you know, areas like Branson and Dollywood, they're actually pretty progressive. So good luck. She's going to hate it there. If she's one of those Bible thumpers, she's not going to be happy there. It's a really diverse area because they're all about tourists, you know, and they're going to take care of those fucking tourists. Hell yeah.
Well,
whether they're gay or not.
And she's somewhat used to that because when we moved to Florida, we lived in Kissimmee. And if you've ever been to Disney World, you know where Kissimmee is. I
used to work at Disney. I'd insulated the All Sports Hotel, the top of it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Nice. And I've also been down in the tunnels, and I did some insulation for the same company, and we went around to the boiler rooms and re-insulated a bunch of shit. It's fucking hot as hell in those things. And those tunnels are huge. You can literally drive a fucking car through it.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. That actually, my dad got a job there when we moved to Florida. But we moved there in 1983, and that was when the economy took a giant. And and Disney had the biggest layoff in their history. He hadn't even been there a year, so he was
man,
one of the first guys to go.
Well, yeah, they always start with the guys that have no seniority, right? Yeah. Or they do nowadays they do the opposite and they get rid of the guys with seniority so they can pay less money out.
Yeah, that's the new trend.
Yep.
Yeah, they did that here. Actually, the state did that here with some of the employees. They fired the guys that were about to fucking retire during COVID and kept the new guys that they were paying them bullshit, like half of the pay.
Yep.
And I was so fucking pissed. And if it wasn't this, like this place is amazing, except for that. That's the only thing I've heard bad about this whole area is that they did that. They fired off a bunch of guys. One guy was 29 years and 2 months, and they fucking laid him off. And then they said, "Oh no, never mind, it's permanent." And so he lost his fucking pension. Yeah, 29 years and 2 months.
Yeah, my father-in-law, he's still like 4 or 5 years from retirement, but they keep pushing him to take an early retirement because it ends up being cheaper. Like an 18% reduction in his overall pension and everything paying out.
I'd say no, I got time, I got this. Yep. I'll be here at 30 years and 1 day. Then I'll retire. Or 20 years, 1 day, whatever. That's interesting. So when I know you said you started transitioning 18 months ago, was that at the point where did you start right away? Or did you like go to your wife and say, "Hey, this is what's going on with me"? Like how did that?
So, well, like I said,
I mean, obviously it worked out because she still loves you and is with you, but
so it was very weird and it was very fast, but it was because like I said, I had been doing a lot of really intensive stuff with my therapist, especially after the lockdown started and we started meeting virtually. I was like, "Hey, do you care if I smoke before our appointments?" And I would like to see if that has any impact because I know I've done a lot of work by myself with meditation and stuff like that, using cannabis. And she has said repeatedly that the progress I've made in a year and a half, if someone is really, really lucky and really bought in to do the work, they might get this progress in 10 years.
Wow. Good for you. That's
so
amazing.
to the point that there's an organization that wants her to write a paper about it.
Oh, wow.
That is amazing.
That is great. So anybody that's on the East Coast of Virginia, let Finn know. He'll hook you up with a good therapist, is what he's saying.
Actually, no, sadly, there are no good therapists in this area that you can quickly get a hold of.
Really?
Everybody is waitlisted like 2 or 3 months if you're good. If you're any good.
And that's the problem with that whole system. Just like there aren't enough therapists to take everybody, and we need it.
And then you have the small town like startup by themselves therapists who start a little business, and then COVID hits, and then poof, they don't have a business anymore. So that's affected a lot of people. It really has.
A true fact. I actually wanted to recommend a friend to see my therapist, and he was like, "No, you can't refer people to me." And it's not even because I shouldn't know people that you know. It's that he's a terminally nice person and he is ridiculously overbooked. Like he works 6 days a week. which is not common in
No,
his
5
practice.
is usually most, right?
But like he literally works Monday to Saturday, like 8 appointments a day. Sometime, not probably every day, but I know that there are days when he works 8 appointments a day, and like when you're that far up in it in human suffering, like that's a lot. That's a lot to do.
Yeah.
But again, it can be really, really hard in this area to find therapists who are queer competent. And so when you find one that is, you hold on for dear life.
Yeah, an actual therapist and not some wacky Christian counselor, because those are not therapists.
Yeah.
They're not trained.
No.
They're not therapists.
Fun fact, my ex, who I dated back we split up back in 2009. We're still friends because she's a great person. It just was not meant to be. And she went and did her college and blah, 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 and got her degrees and became a therapist. And she started her own practice. And she said she is currently trying to get all the trans people away from these horrible fucking Christians who are fucking them up.
Mm-hmm.
Because by the time she gets them, if she finds them and gets them away from these other fucking horrible people, that they are more messed up than they were when they walked in the door.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
because it adds a whole new layer of trauma.
Yeah, she's a lesbian, and her wife are both. They open a practice together. And they're both therapists, and her wife has more of a holistic thing, like where she tries more like I don't know if she's as far as crystal rubbing. I don't think she's that far, but she doesn't like to encourage people to take medication and stuff. Where Jen is the person that says, well, if you need to do this, let's refer you to this guy, and we'll get you medicated if you feel like you need it. But she definitely she's like going to move over here to New Mexico. Her and her wife are within the next year. And she wants to do all trans therapy, and I'm fucking excited about it. It's going to be amazing. Awesome. She's such a good person. She's got a huge heart. She loves everybody, wants to help people. And she, started out as she had her own yoga studio, and then she said, this isn't enough. I need more. And she went back to college at oh God, how old was she? 37, 38 years old. She went back to college and maybe 39 and got her degrees and shit and said, that's it. I'm doing this. So yeah, we definitely there's no such thing as too many good therapists. That's just it's like saying we have too many good doctors. Shit does not exist.
And I'll tell you a funny story about my EMDR therapist. This is great. So I could see that she had hanging on the wall a master's from Regent University, which is Pat Robertson's school.
Oh, that's right.
And so she is completely detached from that in the same way that I am. So it does mean that she's been disowned by a lot of her family, but she totally gets the religious trauma piece of it. So recently I was just like, I'm curious. You said you were homeschooled. Where'd you get your undergrad from? And she said Oral Roberts University. I was like, oh my God. That totally makes sense because you lived near Tulsa and given your upbringing, but it's like, wow, you really do get it. Because one of my best friends in high school also went to Oral Roberts University.
Yeah, one of my acquaintances from undergrad, when I was big in the Christian circle, got his medical degree from Liberty University, and that terrifies the crap out of me. That a religious institution can have a medical school. That should not be allowed. Medicine and religion should be separate.
I agree. Separation of church and state all the way down to medicine.
Yeah, anything within public health, including mental health, any of that should not have religious ties. Sure, you can help somebody who has religious views and not interfere with that. Let them keep their views, but don't affiliate your practice or your methods of therapy with a religious institution. You should be neutral. You should always be neutral.
Yeah, absolutely. Evangelicalism especially really, really promotes no care for mental health care. They really, really do. If anything, they'll recommend stuff like prayer. But if you have a mental disorder, they don't believe in mental health. They believe that you have, like trials from God. And so because they believe that, there is no like affirmative, direct action they could want you to take. Because it's your spiritual duty to deal with those problems rather than like actually getting medical care.
Yeah. Yes, Phoebe, I have found old Mexico, and they just call it Mexico. And I know that's weird. And we got to forgive Phoebe. She's from the UK. She doesn't know much. It doesn't really exist. And yes, Ox, it is to the south a few miles. Yes. It's just now that we cleared that up, we can move on.
Somebody tried.
No, there's lots of people that have had a lot of religious trauma, and there's plenty of. And as a matter of fact, Finn, if you're ever interested, our friend Neil that I met Ben on, he does deconversion stories of going from religion to atheism and why and what led you there and your path. And he's really fun to talk to. And then whoever's been on previously gets to come into the after party. And Ben and I consider ourselves furniture because we're there for every after party. And so nice. he's the recliner, I'm the love seat or whatever. So
many ways Phoebe, that could go.
I did meet you there at Neil's 604 Atheist. Yes, I met you there too, Phoebe. Yeah, so no, he's a great guy, and he's always looking for more people to interview. He said, God, I think I've almost been through the entire community. We need more people. Like everybody's been on Neil's. Everybody's been on Neil's show that's in our community.
Yeah, it's crazy because I graduated high school in 1987. So my first presidential election was the year that Reagan got elected, or was 88, and Bush was running. And it was very funny because I remember being very excited about being able to cast my first vote in the primary for Pat Robertson.
Wow.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I made a 180.
I did a 180, literally.
It's
and
okay,
then ran.
This is a safe place. This is a safe place. Don't ever have to go back to that again.
I know.
Don't do it, bro.
It really is crazy though when I sit and think about it, just to ponder, to go from literally one extreme to the other. Mm-hmm. So, and a lot of my family is still totally bought into all of that craziness.
Yeah.
So
I think it was different for me because my family was extremely religious. My family is, one side is Catholic and one side is Mormon. And so very, very emphatically religious. But I never really believed in it, even as a child. So it was a little bit easier to make the separation when I became an adult. But there still was a lot of that internalizing, the garbage, especially about gender roles. And, feeling like, because I'm not conforming to this structure appropriately, that I'm a bad person and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And like overcoming those feelings was definitely a challenge, even though I never really believed in the dogma.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I never believed in it either anyways. I was really just like, I don't know, like my family just goes to church every Sunday. Why? I don't know. This is what we do. I just wasn't even, and I was so ADHD growing up. I was always like, did you hear the priest say, no? Did he say that? I don't have a clue what he said. No. I think that's one of the reasons my mind never got corrupted, because I wasn't paying attention ever. I was constantly getting taken outside to get my ass beat because I wasn't sitting still in church. I spent more time outside over top of mom's lap at the passenger side of the car getting my ass spanked. And I did listening to anything.
Asking each other questions like, how many communions do you have to eat a whole Jesus?
Yeah, whole Jeebus.
Yeah, whole Jesus.
Hey, you know what we did, Finn? This is really funny because it was totally Ben's idea. So we decided he started eating Cheerios with beer. And he's like, it's
Oh.
actually kind of good. And I'm like, dude, I can't do it. So then he's like, oh, you know what I want to do now? I want to get like Cocoa Puffs and I want to pour coffee over it. And I was like, or something. I was like, oh, I'll fucking do that. I love coffee, right? So then next thing we know, he goes into we should do communion wafers and eat it like cereal. And I was like, how are you going to do that? He's like, well, pour wine over it. Dude,
No.
don't ever do that. Public service announcement. Don't do it. It's like you're drinking liquid baking soda.
Well,
That's
yeah,
all it tastes like. It is so disgusting. Yeah. I took like 4 bites and I was like, bro, I don't care. You can call me non-bro. Yeah. I can't do it. And he's like, I'm going to finish this bowl. And he took 2 more bites and he's like, I'm going to puke. I'm like, it's so nasty.
Well, yeah, those little wafers it's not real bread. It's not
wafers. Real food. We bought the little bread pieces.
Yeah. Oh,
so you did it like croutons.
Yeah, well, because the thing is with the Catholic ones, they're literally just styrofoam. There's nothing to them. At least like the evangelical ones,
it's like take any flavor out of a plain rice
cracker.
Cake.
Yeah, at least the square ones are a cracker and not a packing peanut.
Yeah. Well, see, when I went to church, okay, we had bread. Like the pastor would literally go to the fucking Walmart and get a loaf of bread and break it into pieces.
See, that's the way to go, even though that's leavened. Technically not allowed because it's leavened, but I do know Methodist churches that have done that as well.
Oh, did we lose B?
Probably internet issue.
Oh.
Anyway, I was well, okay, so I'm at this little student apartment in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Arizona, for this rural rotation. And so I have a lasagna in the oven, just like because it'll last me a while. But this oven's like fucking garbage. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep cooking it because I'm gonna eat the leftovers later. And I'll probably eat a little bit tonight, but I'm also making ramen in the meantime because I'm like, I have not eaten since lunch, and it's
one of the cool things about my new job is they actually feed us like fairly regularly. So I work for a catering company now, and so like every day at 11 o'clock they like serve us real actual food out of the kitchen. Nice. And so like today we had like this giant hot salad with like chickpeas and peppers and shit, and then crab cakes and hamburgers, and like they put out like an actual cheese board and stuff, and I'm like, this is really fancy for the guys who sweep the floor.
That's awesome.
Yeah, normally on a lot of rotations at the hospital, like we'll get doctor's lounge access, but I'm at the outpatient family med side right now. And I think I'm doing 2 days of inpatient, but I'm also like right down the street from the student apartment. So I came home for lunch today, and it was great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Probably do the same tomorrow. I had orientation this morning, so it was like I had a 2-hour lunch break. I was like, I'm just gonna go home.
Yeah. I mean, 2 hour. Yeah, that's great.
I'm like 8 minutes away from the clinic. So
that's so not realistic for family practice. Most time you don't even get a lunch.
I mean,
no, that's what today I had orientation.
Sorry.
Well, yeah.
I had orientation today.
Yeah, that's why.
I just want to address Purple real quick. Purple says that, they're trying to fatten us up. Honey, I weigh 365 pounds. I'm already fat.
Larry's like, can't touch this.
No, and Beck with with family medicine, like it's with a resident, because I'm with a residency program, so it's like it's a continuity clinic for the hospital as well. It's also a rural hospital, so you have the family medicine residents. Most of the time, how they do it is like you're on certain rotations and residency as well, but a lot of your time is spent inpatient, and then like you do like certain programs will have you do inpatient in like the morning. And then depending on your year of residency, you might do clinic every day in the afternoon, or you might just do clinic like once a week and do inpatient the rest of it. Because inpatient is a circus. It's a fucking circus. And so you're doing both. Like, so you have all your inpatient patients, and then you also have all of your clinic patients to do. And
Right.
it's just, yeah, it's ridiculous. They don't have me on too much inpatient right now, but residency is going to be, it's going to be
Hell.
circus. It's going to be absolute hell. Absolute fucking hell.
Yeah, but when you're done, you're going to have that badge of honor of, I fucking did it.
The badge of honor
You're
of
gonna be
burnt the
fucking
fuck
amazing.
out.
You are going to be fucking amazing, and I know you are.
Yeah,
I'm telling
it
you.
just makes sense, like, why people burn out so quickly. Because, like,
Yeah.
because when we're talking a residency, it's not like on the job training for a little bit and it's just normal work. No, like, it is put you through the fucking cheese grater of workload. It's like,
Okay,
they
Ox is
capped it.
having a.
Okay, all right. Look,
You've heard of a big dick contest?
I'm-
This is another big contest.
I'm
Go ahead, Larry. How tall
look,
are you? Ox wants to know.
not tall enough to justify 360 pounds,
There you go, Ox.
but I'm
How tall are you, Ox?
I'm 5'7". So
5'7".
I'm tall for a trans guy, but not that tall.
I used to be 5'6". I remember those days.
See, it's okay
You-
because height isn't a measure
strength
of
of
anything
the girl.
important, so people should stop worrying about it.
Hey, you know what the bottom line is, though? This is the best thing about being a trans guy. You get to like be like, yeah, I want this size dick.
Yeah.
What cis that guy can say that? What cis guy can
This-
say that?
It's very true, and you can change
Like,
it up.
I
At
would
will.
like. I told my girlfriend I'm gonna create a measuring device
Mm-hmm.
and measure her to make sure I get the right size.
Oh,
And she's like, "How would you do that?" And I said, "I don't know. I'll fucking create one.
you just
It'll
get a
probably have something to do
dildo.
with a
Look,
speculum and a measuring tape."
no, you just get a dildo and a Sharpie.
Killed Finn on that one.
I can't breathe.
Yeah, of course that's funnier, Finn, because my girlfriend's a PA. She's a medical provider. So she's been seeing patients for 18 and a half years. So she's like,
Please don't tell her we
I don't
said
know
it.
how would you do that? And I'm like, I'll figure it out. She's like, but
where there's a will,
I
there's
don't
a
understand
way.
how you're gonna do that. And I'm like, well, there's hand, there's strapless strap on, and then there's a speculum. She's like, speculum? I'm like, well, that way you get you know what the max
Speculum
is.
might be going a little far. That just reminds me that
Yeah,
I'm so
fucked up.
glad that I have the best gynecologist in the world, because I didn't want to have a pelvic exam, but I had to. And she actually waited until I was having surgery and I was under anesthesia. So I never had to worry about it.
As long as, and this is only for the clinicians and surgeons out there, you only do exams under anesthesia if you have consent for it. You do
Yes.
not just do it.
God.
Yeah, because some doctors will do things like that because they're like, the
Mhm.
patient's asleep. They don't know. They might remember it, and that doesn't even matter because it is
Yep.
assault. If
Yep.
you do not have consent, it does not matter if it's
Yep.
for a medical reason. It is assault. Do not
Yep.
do it unless you have consent. Ask them beforehand to give you consent, and if they say no, do not do it.
Yeah. So in
There you
my
go.
case, Dr. Locke did ask, and
Mhm.
like I had a written consent form prior to going into surgery,
Mhm.
saying that this is what they were going to do, and it was going to happen before I woke up and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So yes.
Oh, JR, what are we gonna do with you? So Ox said he's 6'2" and 423. So okay, Ox, you win. Heavier and taller, we got it, buddy.
That's
Just
all right.
showing
It's not
off
a-
with the
It's not a
6'2".
contest.
It is the Ox. He's like, watch how much I can eat.
I mean, like, we could go to the Golden Corral and like we could settle this right now.
You know what? I was just telling somebody the other day. I used to laugh my ass off, Ralphie May, with his jokes about going to all-you-can-eat buffets. He said, "Yeah, man, a new Asian buffet would open up in town, and me and my buddy, we jump in his vehicle and go over there. We come out, we're both big boys." And he said, them Asian ladies would run out and go, "No, we closed. It says grand opening. No, we closed. We dry cleaner. You go home." It's all you can eat, not eat all you can.
So, true story, back in the day, and this was a long time ago, like, It might have been in the 70s, maybe the early 80s. Red Lobster used to do all you can eat crab legs.
Uh-huh.
And
I missed
so-
that shit.
so
They did it
we
in the
would
90s,
go.
too.
They did it once a week, and we would go because my mom loved crab legs. That's where I developed my love for crab legs. But we watched them throw a dude out one night.
Because he
They
ate
were
that
like-
much?
They were like, "Sir, you're cut off."
Well, you know, they can put in fine print an amount to cut you off at. That is totally legal. And they can put in the tiniest print in the world, but if it's on that fucking menu or posted anywhere in the
Yeah.
restaurant, they can kick you out if you eat too much.
I have no idea if at that point in time they had any kind of fine print on the menu about it, but
They
yeah,
did afterwards.
He cleaned them out.
I've never been kicked out of a restaurant before. I don't think ever.
There's a strategy to buffets, and you got to do the correct strategy. You always go for the higher, like the more expensive items. Like you don't eat the carbs because carbs will fill you up.
No, prime rib, baby. You go after
You
the
get
meat.
you get the protein,
Mhm.
and the most expensive one.
Steak and shrimp.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Steak and any kind of seafood. Steak.
You also
seafood, go
don't
for-
pause. Every time you pause, your brain catches up and notices that you're not
That's
as
right.
hungry
Eat,
anymore.
eat,
So
eat,
you
eat. Go
keep
get another plate.
going.
Yeah.
And then you trick your brain.
And then you walk out and you get in your car and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you only drink water.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't even drink when I'm eating.
Well,
No,
yeah,
drink
no,
a
but
diet.
if you are
I'm
going
not
to,
sucking up any more room in that stomach.
oh yeah,
I'm
no,
eating
you don't
fucking
need
steak.
to. But the point is, you don't drink something that's gonna like
Carbonated.
be extra filling, like so nothing carbonated, like no juice,
No
sodas,
coffee,
like
no milk, right.
like just water if you need anything at all.
Yeah, look, we're talking about this is totally a fucking trans guy stream. Let's
This
talk
is
about
a dude show.
So Finn, did you notice when you started doing testosterone that you craved meat more?
No, I did
Really?
not.
Because
No.
Ben told me that, and I was like, whatever, bro, whatever. And then like 3 weeks later, I was like, Ben, you know what I want? He's like, what? I'm like, I want a fucking steak. He's like, see, I told you.
Now, you know, I do have like spurts where
Mhm.
like I gotta have protein. Gotta have protein.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. So
but it's nothing constant. It's just
I do the macro diet thing where basically it's structured by like you have to have so many grams of carbs, so many grams of protein, so many grams of fat, and then you ideally you want to pick like the best versions of those things. So high quality carbs, high quality protein, high quality fat. And so I noticed when I started on testosterone like 2 years ago, I had to go from like I was eating like 80 grams of protein a day, and I went up to like 140. Like that's how much I was craving protein loaded foods. And then I just kept it like that, and I kind of restructured my diet around that.
Yeah, I use macro
You're building
diets
muscle
too when
and
I
shit.
cut. Yeah.
It's true, man. I'm building muscle, and I quit going to the gym. I was like, I got a girlfriend. I don't have time anymore. I don't go to the gym. But I don't know. Like, my legs are getting bigger. My arms are getting bigger. And I told her, I don't know what we're doing sexually, but we need to quit doing it because I'm fucking building up here. I like it.
Yeah.
Must be the push-ups. I don't know. No, anyway. Old joke. Anyways, so yeah, no, it's true though. So we really got sidetracked. I wanted to finish that question. So how long before you started transitioning did you say that's it? I'm trans. That was the last question I had.
Yeah. So the night that the light bulb finally went off was the beginning of July. And by August 7th, I had my first T shot.
Wow. You did not fuck around, did you?
But now in that month, there was, we sat down, I did a joint therapy session with my wife because she was like, with the DID thing, and I just want to make sure that this is just, it's not one of the parts that's like trying to bully their way through and, you know, stuff like that. So we did that. I have a great, my primary care doctor is a nurse practitioner. And we actually just recently did the math and we determined that we're pretty sure I've been seeing her for about 18 years. So the day that I made the appointment and went in and was like, yeah, so I'm trans and I want to start transitioning. She was like, let's do it. She didn't question anything because she's known me for so long.
Yeah.
You know, and
well, you know which patients are flighty and unstable, and you know which ones have a path and they're heading down that path, and it's just a branch, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And my wife went with me to that appointment, so that way, you know, if she had any questions, she could ask them straight to my doctor. My doctor could ask her questions or whatever. But yeah, it was not like I went into it with a lot of anxiety, going, "Oh my God, I don't know how this is going to go," and it went great. That's so awesome, like, man. I almost feel bad sometimes when I see all these guys and they're dealing with rejection on so many levels,
and hatred and family and friends and partner and yeah.
Like
I feel bad too.
Like I made a post on Facebook coming out as trans, and I have a lot of family that I'm friends with on Facebook, so I know they saw it, but I got like over 150 interactions with the post, and every single thing was positive. I'm like, okay, so I have a mom and a brother left, and they can't even say my name. Okay, fine, whatever. But I have all of this outpouring of people that I know and I'm friends with. Why would I shelf that and focus on these two people that should have little to no relevance in how I live my life?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's one of the reasons I waited so long. I lived in Ohio, man. Like, you don't want to come out in the
Where did you live in Ohio?
Ohio. I lived northeast of Columbus.
Oh my God.
Like 30, 45 minutes, hour away, depending on where I lived at the time.
I was born in Dayton.
Oh, Dayton's way more progressive. Here's how Ohio is. If you're in the cities, you're pretty much good. There's lots of diversity. But as soon as you walk out of the city limits, you have rednecks everywhere.
Yeah, see, and I didn't live in the city proper. I actually lived in a little tiny town that literally had 9 blocks in it. We had to go to the next town to go to school.
Indiana's kind of
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Indiana that too. Yeah. Absolutely. Home of Pence and all of the we need to pray the gay away and shock treatment people.
And RFRA and all the good stuff.
I hate all that crap.
But, yeah. It's more of a purple bubble than a blue bubble, but it's better than the rest of the state.
Well, Virginia's completely spastic, so
yeah,
we can't be trusted.
Yeah, for real. Sorry, work text.
Yeah. Oh no, you're good.
There's lots of shit going on at work, and they're like, we're in a group text, me and the co-owners, and they're just trying to figure shit out, and we're trying to hire somebody, and one's about to retire, and it's just a fucking mess. So I wasn't ignoring you guys. I don't even know where were we going? I'm so ADHD, fan. I stopped taking my Adderall today, so it's bad right now. Well, where were we? Help me out, bro. What did you have to say?
Oh, well, we were discussing how long it took.
Yeah,
I don't know where that went.
Yeah,
you're talking about rural Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you were.
Yeah, rednecks and why I moved to where I am. Yeah, no, I moved out here actually because my job went to shit. I got fired for like the third time in my entire life. So I just said, you know what? My brother keeps saying, so they put me on suspension, right? They're like, we'll let you know, we're going to investigate, right? I dumped some chicken feed on the ground, a truck full of chicken feed, and they saved like 98% of it. And because of that little bit, that $2,000 worth of feed left on the ground, they decided to launched this big investigation of me. And I had busted my ass for this company and did all the right things. I was the only one who was at the time identified female in working with like 30 different dudes, and I busted my ass. I did better than them at every fucking job intentionally. I was like, oh, you think I can't do it? Watch this motherfucker. So they all everybody I worked with pretty much respected me and everything. There was a couple assholes, but it was, it was pretty cool. Like they were all accepting of who I was, and I could say anything. And if they gave me shit, I'd be like, dude, suck my dick, and they'd just be like, yeah, okay, B, I must be like that, So I just stood up to him, told him to fuck off, because that's how those macho masculine men communicate. You have to draw the fucking line and tell them to fuck off. So I did that with all of them. Everything was cool until I dumped that feed on the ground. It was a brand new trailer, and you have this. So anybody that doesn't know what a feed trailer looks like, it's a 36-foot boom, and you put it up over top of the roof of a building. And so when you're over here by where the controls are, you can't see anything, right? And so you go all the way back, you walk way past the caddy corner to the trailer, and you set it up and you put it in the bin, and then you walk over and you hit the go buttons, right? To start the hydraulics, to start the screw type rotor that kicks it all in the back. And then there's screw type rotors that go up and all the way down the fucking thing. So it's like 43 foot of pipe. Like I used to say, I lay a big pipe all the time. I slap it up on top of the building. Anyway, so that was one of my jokes. So we had a brand new trailer, and they had remote controls, which we were not used to. And I dropped it, and apparently when I dropped it, it swung the arm over, but I couldn't tell. It swung it over just a couple of feet. Now where I'm standing at, it looked like everything was fine. And normally, if you are missing the bin, this big dust will billow up, and you always know, and you're like, oh shit, shut it off, move it. And then you call the maintenance guy, sorry man, I dropped some feed on the ground. They're like, no problem, I'll pick it up, don't worry about it, we'll get it tomorrow, whatever. So it's just how it just happens sometimes. Everybody drops a little bit, 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds feed. Happens all the time. So I looked up, and everything looked fine. Everything was running fine. There was no cloud or anything. And I had to run up to the front of the truck because this truck was acting weird. It was a brand new truck. Everything was brand new. I wasn't used to anything. So then I just dumped the whole fucking load. There was never a cloud of dust. And I guess the wind was blowing just right. It was blowing it the other direction. So I didn't know. Dumped the entire fucking thing on the ground. So anyway, so they said, we're putting you on suspension. We're going to investigate this. And I was like, all right, fine. They sent me down for a piss test the same day. I've been smoking pot since I was like 16. So I knew I was going to get popped. I used to take in like fake urine for tests and shit. Well, what they did was the safety lady followed me down in her car to the fucking place. We had to drive 45 minutes to get to the fucking urinalysis place. And they said, okay, we'll let you know when the results come in. Well, I knew I was fucked. And I had just bought a brand new pickup truck, and I had just bought a 16 by 7 by 7 cargo trailer, and I was going to start building out my tiny home. So I said, hey, this looks like a good time to do it, doesn't it? While I'm off work. So I took all the money I had, and, I dumped everything. I had already gotten a loan. I had just gotten a loan and everything. So I was working at the time. It came out perfect. So I just gotten a $10,000 loan. I bought the trailer, and I had like, $3,200 for materials, and then I threw all of the savings I had, which was like $4,000, everything I had in the bank that wasn't for food and shit, and I threw that into it, and I made it just livable. And then they were like, the doc calls me and goes, hey, your urinalysis came back positive. And I said, yeah, doc. And he goes, oh. And he paused. And I said, yeah, I know, I smoke pot. And he was like, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and tell the company. I said, yes, sir, thank you for that. And he was like, okay.
Probably not accustomed to such honesty.
I didn't say no, I don't smoke pot. I just said, yeah, I smoke pot. And he was like, oh. I said, yeah, it's fine. Go ahead and tell him. I knew this was coming. So they fired me because of that.
Yeah.
Because they got fucking piss test when I have never smoked fucking pot at work in my entire goddamn life. Not one time. It's always on the way home or when I get home. I've never fucking done that shit, no. Especially not being a truck driver, or when I worked in the mill, I was a supervisor and I had to watch all of the stuff. I had to make feed. I had to make sure all the feed was the proper ingredients. I had to make sure all the ingredients were full, took in ingredients, put it in certain bins, took out ingredients, sold it to people. Like I had all this shit going on. I had like 6 computer screens. And so you can't be high and do that. Like my ADD was perfect for that job because you had to pay attention to like 10 things at once. And I knew every number, what was going on all the time. So I'm not going to taint that with pot. It was the best job for me, right? So anyway, so that shit happened and I gave away all my stuff that I couldn't fit in my tiny home, like pretty much an entire fucking apartment full of shit. I gave it away to everybody. I left a few things with notes for the maintenance men. Here, give this away. There's an old lady next door that might need it. Like literally did that. And I just fucking jumped in my truck and drove to New Mexico. Said, fuck it. Let's see what happens. I had made no plans except for I got a camping site for 2 days when I got here. I had already planned that ahead of time and I paid for it ahead of time and it was sitting there waiting for me. And I went up to the top of this fucking, like all the way to the top is like 12,000 feet, but I went up to 10,000 feet up this fucking hill, up ice and everything, and slept, and I was freezing my fucking lack of balls off. If I had balls, they would have been gone. I would have had to replace them anyways. It was so fucking cold in this goddamn house. And I didn't have a heater or anything. All I had was a little indoor propane heater for when you're camping. And I was just like buried in the blankets and the cats were on top of me and I was just like, and I didn't sleep for 2 fucking nights. So that's what I did. I just said, fuck it. And I dropped everything. I left. It was just time.
So
then I got here and saw this diversity and I said, my God, I have this community full of fucking supportive people. I'm in this diverse community. I was working at the first job I could find was at a retail, like fucking drugstore, because I'd done that 50 million times in my life and I can always walk in and get one of those jobs. So I started working there and I started seeing these trans people come in and I saw this woman. I thought she was a lesbian. Like, I mean, totally like the bells were going off and the meter was pinging. Like she was definitely, gay or something. Right. And then she comes in again and she has her non-binary person with her who was this really skinny, born male, dressed, not really like in dresses and stuff, but just in pinkish clothing, like guy-looking clothing, but that had pink all over it and stuff, and pigtails. And I was like, what the hell? And I looked around and nobody cared. And I was like, they didn't say anything. Nobody stared twice. They just like look at him and just say, okay, it's a trans person. I was like, oh my God, where the fuck do I live? I live in the best place in the world to do this. Why am I waiting? What am I doing right now? So I just said, fuck it, I'm doing it. Between that and Ben and all the guys on here.
Speaking of trucks, so Stool is starting an army of milk smugglers in Euro Truck Simulator. So he hired, I told him, I was like, you gotta hire, like instead of just trading in your truck every time, like you gotta hire somebody to drive onto your trucks so you can make money. And so he bought a tanker trailer and gave it to his employee named Vladimir, and who is now just delivering milk to everybody. And now he's going to get another employee and another milk trailer and have an army of milk smugglers.
Taking milk to where was he taking him to? Lithuania?
Anywhere, all across Europe, everywhere in Europe. Yeah. Stool's a character.
Oh my God, he's fun. So this whole thing started about a month and change ago, and we have a friend named Bolt who was in the chat earlier, and he'll pop back up eventually. And he was playing this American Truck Simulator. We're like, "What's that? Let me see that." And we're like, "Oh, that's cool." And Ben's like, "I want to buy it." And I'm like, "Dude, I can't do that right now. Like, I'm fucking broke." I just got done. That $10,000 loan that I started 2 years ago, I had just got done paying it off. So this is my first month where I'm like, I'm ahead of the game, right? So I was like, I can't, man. And this was right before Christmas. And Bolt bought me like the big chunk of the United States because they started in California and they're working their way east, building the game still. So he bought me like these 4 fucking states and the package and all this. And I was like, holy fuck. So I went on Amazon and bought a controller. I don't play video games. And so I got into this. Then Ben buys it and he starts to play it. And then our friend Catnip, she starts playing it. And then so it started this thing. We're like starting this trend of this group of crazy people who just drive trucks around in these fucking virtual worlds. It's fun.
Nice.
Fucking fun. Well, I was a truck driver too, so to me it's like, this is not realistic. This is not realistic. This all rest is right. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's really cool and it's fun. And some people are like, I don't understand why you guys would want to play a game that's someone's job. And And I'm like, because it's already been my job. And when in real life, I didn't get to like hit the cops and knock them off the road and drive away like GTA. But in this game, I can.
And okay, so this is the advertisement now, and this is, we're gonna revisit this later, but we are going to have in June, we are going to have because you can convoy with up to 8 people in Truck Simulator and deliver loads together. So we're gonna have a Pride Truck Parade in June. So we're gonna get 8 people, and we're gonna do a truck parade, and we're gonna get video of it, and we're gonna post it all over the internet. You gotta decorate your trucks like all rainbow and shit, and it'll be great.
Or whatever,
or, like,
right?
or trans
Like,
pride, whichever. Pick your
awesome.
pride flag, whatever pride flag you want is fine.
Yeah, Ben's looks like the trans flag. He painted
Yeah,
it. Like
so
that.
it'll be fun, but be ready. Like, get the game, practice your driving, because we're gonna back it in, bitch, with our trans pride truck parade.
All I have to say is Bolt either leads or I'm not playing. And I'm going to be all the way in the back because that motherfucker has flipped me twice in convoys. He cost me $100,000 in that game because he flipped my truck twice, hitting me in the convoy. There's a lag, is what it is, Ben. There's a lag in the game a little bit. So when you're convoying, you know, someone will see you and they think you're up here and yet you're back here on your game.
Gotcha.
And so he was trying to like go around me and he thought I was all the way up there and he hit the back of my trailer and he just flipped my whole entire fucking truck and it cost me like $47,000. And then he did it again by accident. I was like, Bolt, I'm not convoying with you, bro. I'm done. $100,000. You give me $100,000. Anyway, so yeah, it's just
Stool and Bolt should lead with the milk parade.
Right.
I
we
just
can't
wanted
do a
to
cross-country
share
race because Bolt has like $64 million and he'll just get the nicest fucking goddamn truck. And the rest
he has over $100 million now.
$100 million now, yeah. And we're like, we have $130,000. And he's like, oh, I have this truck. Look what I did. I bought another truck. He's got so many drivers that he can't spend the money as fast as it's coming into us. He's been playing the game for like 6 years. So he's
virtual
like
capitalism at its finest.
Yep.
He's literally 6 years ahead of me in Ben and Cat. Yeah, but Ben, I got my 3rd truck and driver.
Oh, nice. See, I'm not as ahead in that game because I've been playing Euro, and so I have.
Yeah.
Well, because Euro is a bigger map, so.
Well, I figure once I hit all the big shit and I get bored, then I'll get the Euro one.
Oh yeah. No, I like the big map that Euro has.
I still have plenty of shit to drive. Plus, you guys drive more than I do, so yeah. So, anyways, that's fun.
So
since we're just real quick, Larry, since we're just bullshitting, anybody that wants to come into the panel, hit me up on Twitter. I'll send you a link. Go ahead, Larry.
I just wanted to share, because you shared your story about screwing up at work. I want to share my best story about screwing up at work. And this is intended to make everybody in the chat feel better about themselves. If you've ever made a mistake at work and thought, oh no, it's not as bad as what I did. So what I did when I worked for Kroger, I caused an incident that required them to pay out a 7-figure settlement to a customer.
What? Oh, wow, I'm fuzzy. 7. Let me try that again.
That's a lot.
Did you say 7 figures?
7 figures.
The fact that they didn't sue you for it is amazing, Larry.
Oh, union.
Oh, that's right. Kroger is union. I've worked in a yard at a Kroger before.
But it was my fault, but it also wasn't my fault. So basically I was running dairy, and so they have the U-boats, right? And they had you stack the U-boat 6.5 foot high. Well, I'm only 5.5 foot. And they were like, you cannot pull the cart. You have to push the cart in front of you. And I'm like, I can't see where I'm going. I'm not tall enough for this ride.
And and let me tell you, when those U-boats are stacked all the way full like that, you're not just pulling it along from the side. Like, you have to fucking put some mass.
And it was fully loaded with milk, so it was very heavy. And I was 17 when this happened. And so I was pushing the cart back towards the back room, and a customer stepped out from in an aisle, and I did not see her, because the cart was full, and I hit her with the milk cart. She fell and she broke her hip.
Oh, Larry. You know, I feel better about my life right now. Thank you, honey.
That was the point. No, I felt horrible about it.
Oh, I bet.
It took me a really, really long time to get over it, because like they definitely made me feel like it was my fault. Like everybody was mad at me. And then like I actually ended up having to quit that job like less than 3 months later, because everybody in that store was shitty at me all the time. But so if you ever feel like you fucked up, you didn't fuck up like that.
Yeah, it's not like we stole anything or anything, though. You know, there's way worse things to do out there.
Yeah, so
I used to work with a guy at Walmart that he would stare at these young girls that were like 10, 12, 13, 14. I'm not even fucking kidding you. And he would say, "Gotta get it before the grass grows on it." And I'm like, and you know what? And you know what Walmart fired me for?
Uh-huh.
I have to tell you this one. This is one of the times I got fired. I worked in the frozen section. And so I would come in, and I would come in at night. The truck would come in. They would shove it in the freezer, right? Well, they're supposed to pick up the old pallets that were empty. They'd never do it. So they'd shove it in the door and block the entire fucking door. So now this is frozen stuff. I can't have it out of the freezer too long. So I would have to pull it out real quick, run in there, get all the pallets out, push all the fucking pallets back in. And these pallets were stacked 7 feet high. Well, 6 and change. I think the door was 7 foot into the freezer. And I was in there working, and I got pissed because it had happened. I was there for like 2.5 months. I was doing overnights while I was going to EMT school. So I was basically only sleeping 3 or 4 hours a fucking day anyways, because I was basically working 2 jobs. And I went in there and I was pissed because it kept happening, and it was getting worse. The conditions were getting worse every time. It was always more stuff and always more issues. And they were shoving pallets in, and the pallets were falling over, and they were just leaving it and closing the fucking door. And I was fed up, and I was in there. So I'm in the back room, in the freezer, and I yelled, "Fuck!" And they fired me. They didn't, but that guy that was walking around and saying shit about little girls, he still had a job. That's how I knew I was in Ohio, in the rural area. They were looking for an excuse to fire me. That's all it was. Like, oh, we got to get rid of this fucking lesbian. And I gave them an excuse. So then they said, well, you can't. That's one rule we have. You can't say fuck. So they fired me. So then I would still walk in. There was only Walmart in town, and I was broke. Oh, we lost Larry. He'll come back. So I had to go in there to shop. Like there wasn't much else. The grocery stores were expensive, and I was poor. So I'd go in there, and every time I walked in the door and I'd see somebody I knew, I would go, "Hey man, how the fuck are you?" Because I'm good.
How the hell are you?
How are you, man? How the fuck have you been? I haven't seen you in a month. And so the manager came over and he's like, "Hey B, you really shouldn't do that." I'm like, "Dude, I'm a customer. I'm a paying customer. I'm not stealing. I'm not doing anything wrong." And how the fuck are you, anyways? And he was like, "Son of a bitch." Couldn't do anything to me. So every time I walked in, I made sure to yell "fuck" really, really loud. Every single time.
That's great.
For like another year before I left that area.
That is fantastic.
Don't like the word fuck? Let me add it to your vocabulary.
It's an amazing word.
I mean, it means so much, right?
It's
Ben?
such a good word. It's such
a
good word.
So many ways. It could be used like fuck.
One of the only redeeming
qualities, you know what I mean? Or fuck. You know, it's diverse.
One of the only redeeming qualities of doing mostly blue collar work is that you get to say fuck a lot.
Oh yeah. Because everybody's saying it. Your mama. Oh yeah.
I work in theater, so
people are more like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah. Not necessarily. Surprisingly, what a lot of people don't know is a lot of people who work like as crew for companies that like set up for concerts and stuff like that.
No claw on the shirt, bro.
Yeah, they're an interesting crowd. I've had conversations with people who don't believe the moon landing happened.
I sat in a truck for 3 hours on Thursday with a guy who listened to nothing but Newsmax.
Oh,
Newsmax?
Beck, this should be your job.
What?
Read the comment.
We joke you have to fail a drug test to say fucking order work here. That's pretty much when I had a painting company.
Yep.
Everybody, we all smoked pot. And when I
Yeah.
hired all these kids that smoked pot, and they were just like, there's one that was ended up being a piece of shit. And I ended up firing him. But the rest of them were just like 18, 19-year-old kids. They needed money. They lived in the fucking hood. So I'd hire them and I'd go pick them up and stuff on the way to whatever job. They'd like walk down to the local little 7-Eleven and I'd pick them up there or whatever. They come over to my place and we drive them. And then about 10 o'clock, we'd go, hey guys, time for a safety meeting. Come on, let's go get a snack. Everybody in the van. And so we drive down to the fucking closest convenience store and we'd smoke all the way there and then buy a bunch of snacks and just fucking like feed our faces and shit and hang out for like, an hour and let the buzz calm down and we'd go back to work. And man, we got so much shit painted like that. Because if you're like ADHD like me and somebody gets you high, you get like hyper focused on something if you want to do it. Like, ooh, this is all I can do. And I was like painting like this crazy expensive $3, $4, $5 million houses. And this was years ago. So that's a lot of money. These big fucking beautiful houses. And the job was like, it was like an $18,000 take home out of it kind of jobs, like big money. And I would just get fucking high as shit and start painting all that fucking trim in those houses, because some of them would have that like 7-board trim, 8-board trim. And you have to like sand it all and caulk it all and sand it all and prime it and sand it and paint it and paint it. Like that's your life. So I was in there for days doing trim in this one room. But man, I just got up on that ladder and I'd get high and I'd be like, oh, I'm done. That's great. Moving on, So yeah, everybody that I worked with, if there was nobody that was an owner or house owner or whatever around, and it was just construction guys, if you weren't high and cussing, fuck it. I ain't got time for you. I got rules. I got standards. So yes. Why is it universal to say, let's have a safety meeting when someone is clandestine? I can't even say that.
Clandestinely.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. Smoking pot at work. Yes, it is universal. I actually learned that term because my ex-husband, they would have safety meetings at work, but he had literal safety meetings. So when the safety meeting was done and the boss walked away, they'd all go behind the house they were building because he was a framer, and they'd all get fucking high and they'd do their own safety meeting. So that's where I got it from.
I was a safety rep for 18 months and I never got to go out behind anything and get high. This is a ripoff. I want my money back.
Fuck yeah, man. That's
yeah,
horrible.
that sucks. That's
horrible. You know what I'm gonna do? Guys know what I'm gonna do when Ben graduates and he's done and his residency's over. I'm gonna go to wherever he is, and I'm gonna fucking get so drunk and high with him. It's gonna be so much fun. So I feel like you guys should come. Like all 4 of us should do that together. We should all just get fucking smashed ass drunk and high together.
How much does it cost to get a plane ticket to wherever you live?
I don't know where I'm gonna be, so
okay. Yeah, that's the thing. We don't know. He could end up over by Finn, or he could end up over here by me, where he is, because he's only like 9.5 hours from me. 9 hours from me right now.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
I need to take a weekend off at some point when you have room to breathe and come and fucking see you in person, man.
Yeah, for real.
I would actually love to throw you like a dorky graduation party. That would be the greatest thing.
Absolutely, you should. You should get like little penises and little stethoscopes, the popsicles.
Why the penises though?
I don't
just
know.
Because guys, that's what we do.
That's true.
I don't know.
True.
I don't
torture
know
each
how,
other. No, you gotta eat the penis. I don't know.
I don't know how ubiquitous the brand Cirilla's is, or if any of you guys are familiar with it. But so there's a sex shop here called Cirilla's. And they sell garbage for like bachelorette parties. And one of the things they have that I've always wanted to buy that I have never had an excuse to buy is they have penis pasta.
It's like the little round. They made it like it's like tall pasta. It's almost like they took penne and put it on end, right?
No, so it's kind of like like the SpongeBob mac and cheese. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Doodles it's like doodles of penises. And
I have
you
look
always
like through
wanted
it to see
those.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, I'm not eating the penises, but you can bet. It's fine. I'm not in for. I don't think Ben's up for it either.
I was thinking I sort of want to get some of that pasta and like bring the mac and cheese to the next family gathering
Yes.
and
I
see how long
Where's
it
the
takes?
vagina pasta?
See
That's what
how
I
long
wanna
it
know.
takes.
You can get vagina chocolate molds.
This is true.
Well, yeah, but I want vagina
So you
pasta.
can make. Yeah, but you could also.
You
I
can
mean,
call
you
it
could
mac
make
and
it
V.
yourself.
Well, look,
Mac and V.
it's called
Sorry.
tortellini.
I couldn't help it.
It's true. It's called tortellini.
True story. And B, you're from Ohio, so you may recall this.
No,
When
I
I
just
was-
live there. I'm not from Ohio. Don't you do that to
Oh.
me, Finn.
Okay.
We're gonna
Sorry,
stay cool
sorry,
here. Don't you do that, bro.
Sorry. We called tortellini belly buttons.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I actually had a chick in Ohio that I dated that made me tortellini. And then I realized she was a psycho bitch and I got rid of her. But anyways, moving on.
I'm
My
very-
first girlfriend was a psycho. She
I
put
just
my
realized
vacuum
I'm in the
cleaner in the
UK.
wall.
I need to
Okay.
drive on the correct side of the
Look.
road.
Ox, I'm very skeptical that you've ever seen a vagina.
Vajinko pasta. God, Guy Who Gears is great.
No.
You are brilliant, sir. Brilliant.
I
No.
forgot I was in the UK.
Brilliant. Yeah, don't ever schedule a safety meeting at 420, especially not on April 20th. Just saying.
Okay.
April 20th. What day of the year is that? I wonder if I can stay home and is it Saturday? Anybody know? Ox knows. Ox knows. I wonder if I can stay home all day and just stay high.
420 this year falls on a Wednesday.
Ah, okay. That's fine. I'll just take Wednesday off. My girlfriend's off those
Okay.
days anyways. Oh, it's the third one of the
Oh.
month. She has to work. Well, fuck. Damn it. It's ruined my plans for the year. That was it. That's all I had planned. No surgeries or anything like that. Oh, Finn,
take
you
a
know what I
half
just
day.
did? Speaking of
No.
transitioning, because that's where we started. This past Thursday, I just went down and put in my paperwork to change my name. So I'm pretty excited about
Nice.
that.
Oh, awesome.
Then I talked to the clerk because she deals directly with the judge and stuff. And I said, hey, I said, just be honest with me. Did these usually go through? And she goes, if you do what they tell you to, yeah, he puts them through all the time. He's really cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love where I live. Like literally, they're going to call me in like the next week or so. And then I have to go down and post it in the newspaper. It costs like $40, $45 to do that. And I originally thought it was like $250 to $270. And I was looking at old prices and they changed it. It's cheaper in this county now. And the total's only going to be $177.
Wow.
So pretty fucking cheap.
I don't think I paid hardly anything. I want to say it was like $75.
Oh, they have a lot of court fees. I live in a rich area.
Yeah, Colorado is like they make you get fingerprinted and all this shit. And like that with all the court fees, it's about $300 to $400.
See, I didn't have to do any of that. I
But
didn't have to do any of that. I just filled out
my request got approved in 3 days from submission.
Yeah,
So-
Maybe I should check my phone. I dropped it
took
off
like
at
2
the end of
weeks.
the day,
Yeah.
so it's only really been 2 business days.
I got a phone call. So
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to call me.
Yeah.
They're gonna call me and say, "Hey, your paperwork's done. Come pick it up." And then you got to take it to the I don't know how they do it there, but here you have to take it to the local newspaper. And the clerk goes, "Don't go to the New Mexican. Go to the Reporter. It's cheaper."
see,
And I was like,
in
"Thanks."
Colorado, in Colorado,
Mhm.
they don't have the requirement to publish your name change if you're trans.
Yeah.
They took that.
Yeah,
out,
we have to
so-
do that.
yeah.
Well, I didn't tell
Yeah.
them. They don't ask why on the form. They don't even care why. They're just like, "Do you
Yeah,
want to
no,
change your name?"
Colorado
Yeah,
passed
okay.
Mhm.
Colorado passed a
great.
bill saying that they do not require that anymore for trans people. So
Yeah.
you put that as your
That's
reason,
great.
and like legally, you don't have to because it outs people.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I could do that. I could probably do that here if I really wanted to go that route. But this route's so easy.
Mhm.
Like, why would I?
oh yeah,
try
no,
another
in
way?
Colorado, it's not expected, like because it's not
Yeah.
required at all. So it is not expected that you do it. So it's different.
That's
like
good.
if where you
Yeah.
are, it is expected. Absolutely, like do what is expected.
Yeah, but it's only
So
for 2
I'm just saying,
weeks.
I love that they
Yeah.
remove the requirement in Colorado.
Oh yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
great. They should remove it. And I don't know what the big deal is, anyways. Like, who the fuck cares if you change your name? Like,
Yeah, it's a fraud.
really, who
thing.
cares? Like in Ohio and stuff, I wouldn't even want to check there to see what the requirements are. I'm sure it's a fucking pain in the ass. Or if they find out that you're trans, they'll probably have a fit because there's so many fucking bigots there. But no, here they don't even ask. They don't even care. They just like, I looked for some place to explain myself, and it's just like, this is the name you have, this is the name you want, sign it, date it. Okay, and then do this like 5 times, and because there's 3 different sets of paperwork. So I do all of those because it's like the beginning process, and then I come back with the affidavit, and they give me another piece of paperwork, and then they set a court date, and I just have to go before the judge and say, yes, I want to change my name to make it fucking officially legal, and he goes ka-chunk, and it's done.
Yeah,
so I just have, once they call me, it's like when they call me to pick up the paperwork, they're gonna give me a court date, and it's gonna be like 3 weeks out. So once they call me, it'll be like 3 weeks. I'll have it done.
Here they removed the court hearing requirement too.
Oh, good.
So like literally, I dropped off my paperwork. I dropped it off. I got a phone call 3 days later with my new name.
Yeah,
that's awesome. How much did it cost you?
It was about $300, but it was done in 3 days. No court hearing, no publication. It's just done.
Yeah. I got about halfway through mine, and then I was not able to appear for my court date, and I have not tried yet to do it again. So I still have not changed my name.
Mine was really simple. Like, I went online, I downloaded the form, I filled it out, I went in person to the clerk, paid my money, showed them the documentation they needed, and like 2 weeks later, I got the signed order in the mail.
So here it's not very difficult. If you can even you can get a waiver for the fee even if you make below a certain amount of money.
Oh, that's cool.
But I got through all the paperwork stuff and like the notary and bullshit like that. And then I was in the hospital on the day that my hearing was supposed to be. And then because of like everything with COVID, they just did not they couldn't reschedule it. Or at least that's what they blamed it on, because the Indiana state government has just ceased to exist, and they're blaming everything on COVID.
On COVID, nice.
But I mean, I'm eventually, I just got to get the spoons together to do it again, because it's not hard. It's just getting it started.
Yeah. Larry, which state do you live in? I forgot.
Indiana.
That's right. Yeah. You're in the hell state, right?
But Indianapolis isn't so bad, and like actually going through Marion County Court is not so bad. But
I still have to update my stuff with VA.
Yeah.
So, but
that sounds interesting.
Well, because I mean, you can actually get like all of your stuff updated. So like they'll give you a new DD-214 with the proper name on it. But I just it's been a spoons issue, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was going to be a problem when we refinanced our house, but it wasn't. So because I was like, oh man, the mortgage company is going to make me put it in my old name. But yeah. And my passport, that's the other thing that I have to update.
I need to get a new passport.
Well, that's the big thing for me is my given name is so fucking feminine. It's like when I was in high school and I was in school, it was one of the most feminine fucking names.
Yeah.
So I kept shortening it, and I got down to 2 letters. Because I fucking hate it. And then every time I get an email, because I'm at work, we have to go in and get into the apply for the site to get to the vaccines, and we have to apply for access to the sites to check the insurance and all that. Well, I used the name I prefer, and a bunch of it got kicked back and said, that's not your real name. We're not doing it. And so Dr. Marenko came to me and goes, well, how come you can't get in here and here and here? Because she asked me to do some stuff. I said, I can't. I'll ask Marissa. She goes, why not? I said, I'm not doing all this paperwork twice or 3 times. I already have to do it twice. So I filed my paperwork, and this conversation just happened on Friday. I said, I filed my paperwork yesterday. When it's done, I will refile everything. I have so much. I have to go refile with the bank. I have to refile. There's like 20 different places when you work at the front desk of a family practice that you have to go get access to, and they grant you permission, and they do like background checks and shit on you. So they did a background check on me and they were like, that's not your real name. We're not doing it. And I was like, fine, then I'm not doing it right now. I'm just not fucking doing that over. And you have to do like a training course and shit on like 6 or 7 of them that take hours. And I'm like, I don't have the time and I'm not fucking doing it right now. So I just told her when my name is changed, I will redo it. And until then, it's going to be like that. And she was like, oh, okay. I just said, no, I'm not doing it. You can't make me. We have 2 other people that have all the access we need. I don't need to have that access. So yeah, so I can't fucking wait.
Yeah.
Like I'm just so fucking excited about it.
So lads, I gotta hop out. I gotta get
Okay.
up at the ass crack of dawn tomorrow to get to work.
The crack of the ass of the dawn.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
I know you do.
So it's been really nice talking to you. It's nice to meet you, Puck.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you, Larry.
Right. And
All right, buddy. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
Love you, man.
And always know you're never as big of a fuck up as I am. Just today's moral lesson.
Or you could think of it like this. There's nobody in here that's much of a fuck up. Accidents happen, Larry.
See, I had my
Accidents
most
happen,
recent
buddy.
work fuck up was during a show of Fiddler on the Roof. Now, mine is not detrimental. Like, I didn't cost anybody any money or anything, but I don't know if anybody's familiar with the show Fiddler on the Roof.
Yep.
But I was the dresser for the dad.
Okay.
The main
Yeah.
character of the show.
Mhm.
I was his dresser. And this guy, so at one point, when he meets the boys, he comes off stage and he comes out of one jacket and he goes into his prayer coat. And the dude sweat constantly. So I always had to have this fucking bright ass yellow towel. And when you work as a dresser, you wear an apron that sort of looks like a nail apron.
Right.
And so I have this towel folded over hanging out of my pocket. So when he needs it, it's right there, right? So the prayer coat has a belt on it. And I'm putting it on him from behind.
Oh no.
And
And
did I
you
mention
grab-
that this actor is also an Israeli? So he's like the real deal. So like there were costume pieces that I had to pay special respect to because they were religious pieces. So I put this coat on and it's got a belt, and the belt came up and picked this yellow towel up.
And he walks out with a bright yellow towel.
And he walks out on stage. And ironically, the dude that tried to tell me that the moon landing didn't happen is right behind me at this time. And as I see him walking out on stage and he's now too far out for me to grab it, this dude goes, I don't remember seeing that there before. So
you're like,
there's
fuck off.
a bright ass yellow hand towel hanging on the back belt of this prayer coat.
Oh,
It's hilarious.
Mine is not detrimental. No one was injured, but
yeah,
it was pretty fun.
And the parting thought, Larry, is you told the company you weren't comfortable with it and they made you do it anyways.
See?
It's not your fault, bro.
Yeah.
It's not.
Totally called it out. That's why they couldn't sue you for it, by the way.
I
Otherwise, they
appreciate
would've
that.
wrapped
I
it.
appreciate that, Purple. But I really do gotta go now. Bye, guys.
Get out of here.
Bye.
Love you, man. Good dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so lucky. I ended up with so many amazing people in my life. I'm just a lucky motherfucker. I decided I'm gonna Finn, you might be interested in this. I decided I'm gonna do a new clothing line because I have a Teespring and it never sells anything. And I'm fine with that. It's okay. I lowered all the prices anyways to dirt cheap. But I'm gonna do a clothing line that's called The Lucky Bastard. Because I'm a lucky bastard. Because I
like it.
I have a good life. I have a good job. I have this community online of people that love me. I have friends in real life that are 100% supportive. Half of them are either non-binary or just don't care and are like, cool, good for you. Whatever, because that's the area I live in. I have a girlfriend who sees me for who I am, like 100%, has never made a pronoun slip. Not once.
Wow.
The second day after I came out, because I walked into work and I said, hey, everybody, I have an announcement. And no patients were in there yet. And they were like, what's up? And I said, just so you guys know, I'm going to transition because I'm really a guy. And they were like, Okay. So on day 2, before she was my girlfriend, she started calling me Mr. B. And she said that her kid came up and said, "Oh, Mr. B," right? And she was like, "That's awesome. I'm going to call him that from now on." So she started calling me Mr. B out loud, like in front of the patients and everything. So everybody would treat me as a male. And so she was like 100% supportive. And
That's
then
awesome.
what was it? Started on September 7th, and on October 23rd, a month and a half later, I went to her and confessed my love for her. And she didn't really say much. And then I came home and we're all playing Dungeons and Dragons online. I didn't know we were live. We were in the Discord chat. And I pick up my phone and it's this long text about how crazy she is about me and how she was afraid to say anything because she's technically my boss and what the implications would be and blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but I came on to you, so it doesn't count. You didn't offer me a raise to date you or anything or to have sex with you. Like, that's when it gets fucked up, right? So we were texting and texting and texting. The one that was being a bitch to me earlier just sent me an apology text. I don't think I'm going to get that tonight. Anyways, the next day we texted for like 3 or 4 hours and I was fucking like shaking. I was dropping my phone and oh my God. And how could this amazing fucking woman even want me? And all the time she's like, "You're like the best man I've ever dated in my life. And I'm so in love with you." And she'll like spoils me and cooks me these elaborate dinners and all this shit. And I'm like, I'm a fucking lucky bastard. And I told her one day, I said, I am the luckiest bastard in the fucking goddamn world. And she's like, why would you say that? She goes, I feel lucky. And I said, no, you don't understand. People like you are not common in the trans community. People don't just automatically see somebody for who they are. She's like, but you're a guy. And I was like, do you see what I'm saying? And she's like, no, people don't do that. And I'm like, because she's such a good person, she doesn't understand how people couldn't do that. Yes. And she doesn't understand how people can like treat someone poorly for who they are or anything. She's like, and some of the stuff that I've told her that Ben's gone through, she was literally sitting there with me and she was sitting next to me crying. She was crying for him. She's like, how could they treat him like that? I'm like, I don't know. Like, to me, it's insane. And she's like, I can't picture it. And I said, you're a unicorn. And she's like, what do you mean? What's that mean? And I said, it means you're rare and you're almost non-existent. And there's only so many of us trans guys that get a woman like you in our lives. And I'm a lucky fucking bastard. And so she's actually came on some streams and she had some questions about, trans athletes and stuff. So we did Oxic Transculinity one night and I was at her house and she came on with me and, asked questions and discussed stuff with Ben. And like, she's like, I want to learn more. There's a conference coming up in 2 weeks on a Saturday and it's not far from here.
Oh, cool.
No, where is it? Hold on. I might be lying. I can't remember where the conference is.
Oh, she's a quality person.
Somewhere. Yeah, she's amazing. I really I don't know how the fuck I know, like, I'm a good person in general. I know that, but I don't know how the fuck I got here, but I am so lucky. So,
no,
but
she's a 1 in a million for sure.
They sent out these pamphlets to work about this medical conference, and one of the talking points is trans healthcare. And she's like, we're going to that. And I was like, oh, that's why? And she's like, look, trans healthcare, I want to learn more. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like she's totally like been researching stuff and looking into stuff and stuff that Ben has told her. And she sat the other day and for like 3 or 4 hours was digging through research and stuff. Like, that's what she does when her kids aren't home and she's home alone. She researches medical stuff. She fucking loves it. And so
interestingly enough,
she's like, we're gonna go to this conference and I'm gonna take you and we're gonna hang out in the spot. You can hang out in the spot during the whole thing, and I'll sneak you in for the trans part, and I'm gonna take notes. And I really just want to go for this one part. I want to listen to the speakers and I want to discuss stuff. And like, she is so like amped up about it. Like, she's so ready to go and learn more. And I want to. Who the fuck are you?
I just want to. I want to know who they are getting for the speakers, because I'm curious if I know them, because a lot of the doctors that do the trans healthcare like are very prominent in the community. So I'm curious if I know any names.
Oh, from the conference? I don't have the pamphlet with me.
I know. But when you find that out, I'd love to I'm
Yeah,
curious
I'll ask Heather
if I
about
know
it.
anybody.
It's on her desk at work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she oh my god, she was supposed to register this weekend. Fuck. I hope it's not too late. Like truly, I hope it's not too late because she really wants to go. There's just so much going on, man. And then she dated this guy a few years back, and his name's Aaron, and this is one of the things going on with her right now. And when she met Aaron, he already had a son. His mother committed suicide. He doesn't know that, but anyways, he's just turned 17. His mother committed suicide when he was like 2 or 3 years old. So Aaron like had different, a couple different girlfriends and tried to get remarried, and they dated, and she was like, this isn't working. They remained friends. She loves his kid, and he actually has 2, but the other one has a mother still because they had 2 different mothers. This one does not. And he wants to go to school here, and the lady that used to date Aaron, has been taking care of this kid. And so Heather's my brother's renovating her garage, and Heather's going to bring him up and have him stay with her during the school year so he can go to the high school he wants to go to and be around his friends, and it be a little bit more, like a more cohesive environment, because it's so much shit like this. He found his dad. His dad blew his brains out, and he found him. And this just happened. Fuck. I think it was August. This past August. So the kid's in a bad fucking way. So she's like, nope, that's it. I'm just gonna have a third teenager. He's my son. I love him. So she's just taking him in, and like and the practice is going crazy. She's been a little busy. And then I consume time because boyfriends, god damn them.
Mm-hmm.
So needy. Yeah, interestingly enough, that's
a good point, Ollie. She can write it off as an expense.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely right. She can. She can do it through the business. Good idea. Thank you, Ollie. She hadn't even thought about that. She was going to pay for it herself because that's how she is. She never uses her company credit card for anything. She never buys anything on the company bill. She just pays for it out of her own pocket. I mean, she does make like 100 and she said, well, let's see, last year I made a little less last year. This year I'll make more in the previous year, but I only made 168 grand last year. And I'm like, and she's like, so then this year, this 2021, well, cause COVID, everything dipped and they all lost a lot of money. And she's like, so this year it was 189. And I said, I wonder how many years it would take me to make that. So she's continuing to talking because I'm ADHD. I'm doing the math in my head. Right. And I said, I waited a little bit and she paused and I said, 5.5. And she goes, what? I said, current salary, 5.5 years for me to make that much money. And she was like, oh, that's fucked up. And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, we need to give you guys raises. And I said, yes, you do.
Yep.
5.5 years to make 200 grand. Anyways,
sounds better.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea, Ollie. Thank you for. Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. It's a really fucking like high-end hotel, and they have all the bells and whistles, and you just pay for the conference, and everything's included, and they feed you and everything. I think everything except for like dinner and whatever drinks you want.
Yeah, it's like the bar is usually not covered, but everything else.
You know what? We'll just go play some pool and get some free drinks. They'll be fine. She knows how to play pool too. She grew up hanging out in a bar because her dad played in bars. He was a musician and he was just never famous. And he always played in bars. So her and her sister were always hanging out in the bar shooting pool. So she's apparently a pool shark. So I'm probably going to get my ass kicked doing that with her. But it's okay.
Well, hell yeah.
Doesn't make my dick any smaller. I don't care. I'm okay with it.
But what about your milk tanker?
I don't know about the milk tanker. I don't know if I can do the milk, man. Right? I mean, right now, I'm finding more and more Kenworth jobs because I keep discovering more cities and there's more Kenworth dealerships, and that's the good paying shit right now is moving Kenworths.
Yeah, no, I don't think milk is as good of a paying job in American trucks as it is in Europe. Like Euro Trucks has all these like food jobs, so many food jobs. Yeah.
Well, we grow so much here. We have milk everywhere in the United States. We don't have to move it very far usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's milk cows everywhere. Yeah, so that's true. Oh, good idea, Purple. Not only that, but you're an employee of the practice, so she can write you off taking you as an assistant. That is awesome. Man, I love you guys. See, I'm glad I brought it up. She's going to be like, oh, I can do that. She doesn't even think like that. I don't even think she could even like think I would steal something. You know what I mean? Like, she's not even that person. Just wouldn't even cross her mind to use anybody for anything. We have at least one major dairy producing state in every region of the country. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's true. Like the most you have to move milk is a couple of states over. That's the most you'll ever do. Yeah. Most of the time, if you're moving milk, it's because they're making something out of it. And you have to take it to a certain place for it to be turned into something, you know?
Yep.
So yeah, it's true. Well, so Finn, I don't want to keep you up too late, sir.
Yeah, I do have an 8 o'clock call, and I have to actually like leave my house to go to this job. So,
Ew. No, I'm kidding. Me too.
Yeah,
well,
this is actually my wife's office because since March 18th of 2020, she's worked from home.
Oh,
So,
well, I'm glad that she has all the equipment for you. Tell her I said thank you.
Last spring, so she cleared a space for me. She was like, "You can't have my station, but I'll clear a space on the table where the printer is." I was like,
"Oh, that's so
thank
sweet.
you, honey. I appreciate it."
Yeah, I need to go study, so I can't.
Yeah, we do
be
need
here
to
much
end this.
longer.
I'm tired. I was. One last thing: has anybody ever heard of the series Dope Sick?
I have heard of it. I have not seen it yet.
So, it is about the start of OxyContin and how Purdue advertised it, how they lied, all the shit they pulled. And it's like the start of the epidemic, and where it started. And it started in the coal and mining towns in Appalachia, because everybody.
That's why West Virginia got hit so hard.
That's right. So it was like Eastern Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, parts of Pennsylvania, Western Virginia, all that area. Anyway, so that's what it's about. It's about a small town doctor who ends up, he loses a lot of patients because he believed them, and they convinced him to use it, and he gets addicted to it, and it's really fucking ugly. And they turn it into a series because there's so much fucking to it, and it's got like Michael Keaton and all these amazing fucking. Michael Keaton's actually one of the executive producers of it, and I don't even know if he's ever produced anything before, but he plays the old doctor, and he is of course amazing because it's Michael Keaton. So if anybody hasn't seen that, you should watch that. We got so sucked into it last night. I didn't go to sleep till after midnight. She was like, well, let's watch one more. And then we were watching another one. We're going, oh my God, what the fuck? You know, like medically, it's just blowing your mind, and humanitarian wise, it's blowing your mind, and you know, the money grubbing, and you're going, oh fuck. And you don't know whether to be sad and cry or pissed off. So it just sucked us in. And next thing I know, she's like, it's after midnight, we have to go to bed. I'm like, oh fuck, you know. Slept like 5.5 hours. I'm fucking tired. So okay, so let's end this. Let these two guys get off and do their thing, and I'm probably gonna play some truck simulator until it's time to go to bed. Everybody in the chat, you know, I appreciate you guys. You guys are an ever constant. Gary Priestley, it's called Dope Sick, and it's really good. You should watch it. It's actually true, and it's since they're in the process right now of suing Purdue still, and they're in litigations. It's actually really up to date, and it's all true shit. And they just made it into a miniseries. Anyways, everybody in the chat, thank you guys for coming by. I love you guys and appreciate you, and you're always supportive and amazing and inclusive for everybody. So thank you for that. Thank you always for the good conversation. Ben, you know I love you, bro. You're always here. Finn, thanks so much for coming by. And if you ever want to come by, you know how to get a hold of me. Monday and Wednesdays, my channel. We do Friday trivia game stuff on Ben's at like 9 p.m. Eastern. We all hang out and drink and shit and have a good time. Yeah, you're always welcome. And thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So everybody out there, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Have some peace in your life.